Hello, hello, everyone. Patriot Live here. No one's on. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and say the pledge and get the music going so we can get this party rocking. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'm ready to stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt of the God bless the USA. There ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless the USA. Proud to be an American. So we had a birthday over the weekend, David Duffy, and I sang to him, but I'm going to sing to him tonight. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, David. Happy birthday to you. Also, speaking about birthdays, I do believe that we have one coming up this week, the 18th. Can't remember who it is. So for anybody who remembers whose birthday is the 18th of Myrna, I see Janet and Ian and Jeremy, Elaine, Ian, Bill, Tony, Cindy Merger from Florida. Welcome to the show. But anyway, guys, almost didn't have a show tonight. And I'll explain that to you guys as soon as I talk to the kids. And I have to admit, Friday night show for the kids, I wasn't planning on doing much on it. I still ended up doing 23 minutes with the kids. And all I asked the kids to do is go out and have fun. Go out and be kids. And pretty much our main kid on here who watches the shows, who posts on our Telegram and that, Super Jimmy, I don't think he went out and had fun because he was constantly posting. And it's great when he posts. He comes up with some good things. Why an 11-year-old boy is that knowledgeable about things like that, but I don't know. Hi, Rocky. Hi, Ann. But anyway, I know my 5 grandkids, 2 of them went to Indiana Beach on Saturday, and I got some amazing pictures. 3 of them, he got a hit, Ronnie, to keep his streak alive. 3 of them had friends over. 2 of them had friends over. Patriot Super Gymnast and, Patriot Super G. Yeah, Janet's back. All right, is everything okay with your family, Janet? I wanted to find that out. But Patriot Super Gymnast and Patriot 7 had his little girlfriend over, and they played. And Patriot Super Gymnast had her brother over, and they get along real well. They're the same age. They're really cute together, and kids that age are. But Patriot little monkey, she calls me. She video calls me because they're taking the golf cart with her daddy and Super Gymnast and Patriot 7. She's taking that, and they're going over to get the 2 kids, and they wouldn't let her go. And she was sad, so she calls me tells me she's sad. And then all of a sudden her mom says, well, they're out there now, they're back. And she knew she would play with these kids, and she was gone. So she wasn't upset long. But they went to the high school football game Friday night. So showing the kids got out, and she decided then she wants to be a cheerleader. Well, the high school team has their high school cheerleaders, but they also let the little girls that's on the Pee Wee squad come. They have to have a T-shirt that, Central Comets, and black shorts or little skirt or whatever. And she decided she wanted to be a cheerleader. And her mom, my daughter, went and bought her a little T-shirt. And they let her cheer, and this is her. She not only cheered, but she took over the group. Ow. It always does that. There she is. So my grandkids had fun. They got out, and then I will conclude in the grown-ups part what they did on Sunday, which, thank God. So I haven't heard from any other ones. I was kind of hoping grandparents or parents would contact me and say, hey, Patriot 11's out riding his horse. Good. He's not got his cell phone. He's not got his tablet. Patriot Wyatt Earp and Karate Kid. I was hoping I'd hear from Michelle, but no. Janet was probably busy baking because I know she's about ready to bake me and Ron some cookies and send them all over. I mean, if I beg long enough, she's going to give in. But she didn't say anything about Patriot Princess Our Queen or Patriot Hunter. I went all weekend and didn't hear nothing from John about Boogs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. And that's unusual because I don't usually go that long without hearing from John. But, maybe it was one of those weekend. And Mike, I went and checked Mike, and nothing for Patriot Little Leona and nothing for Little Leilana. But you know what? Maybe because I didn't hear is because they was all out playing. Maybe they was getting away from all of their electronic products. Maybe they was doing what I asked them to do, and I hope and pray they were. And kids, I really don't have a lot for you tonight because I really want to get into the show for a couple of reasons. One, I'm really, 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 really hungry. and I haven't eaten yet, so I want to get the show over so I can go get something for supper. Now, we call it supper, but me and Ron's having a breakfast supper tonight. We're having sausage patties, we're having fried eggs, and we're having pancakes. So that's our supper for tonight. Hi, none you Bizwax. Hi, Richard. Let's see who else is here. I already said hi to Jim. Simon Livingston. The packages should be coming out by December 25th. Zeus will be making a speech soon, hopefully with Arnold. I have no idea who Zeus and Arnold is, but if you say so, Simon, hey, thumbs up to you, buddy. So anyway, that concludes tonight's version of the kids portion of the show. Keep being kids. I think you're going to have a little time coming up soon that you're going to really have a chance to be kids, because there's a possibility much that you might get a few days off school, like maybe the rest of the year. We don't know. I'm just putting a little something out there. And, I'm reading here that, hey, Karen, Simon says that the packages, I'm assuming he means the packages we're all waiting for. I don't think it's going to be till December 25th. We might call it December 25th because it'd be an early Christmas, but, hi, Ann. Ann says, hi, Ralph, Ron, Bill, Michael, Cindy, Beth. Boy, she just hi-ing everybody. But there's a lot of good things out there, guys. But before I go any further, show almost got canceled tonight due to something that happened. As I told you, my grandkids, Amber, my daughter's children, they was on the go. So was my other two grandkids. They did not play with their tablets. They was not on the computer. They was out doing things, fun things. Well, Liam, Patriot 7, has turned into a sportsman, a sports kid. He loves to fish. But unfortunately, our fishing got put on hold this year because he was constantly in baseball. He went from baseball to a week's vacation, from a week's vacation back to football. Practices 3 nights a week, plays on another day, and their team won Sunday. Saturday, they came home. They enjoyed the company of some friends. And then on Sunday, my daughter doesn't have the whole cable package where she's spending hundreds of dollars, but she found a package where she can literally get Fox Sports and she can get Channel 2, which is the 2 channels that the Bears play on pretty much all the time, unless they're a national game, and then they play on, a channel that they already get anyway. So they're sitting out in their garage. They got a nice sofa and love seat out there, and they got a nice TV, and they open a big door, and they let the breeze come in. There was a beautiful breeze yesterday, and they're enjoying the game. And game got over, and they started to do some things around the yard. Liam started to kick the football, and girls started doing what girls do, and they was having a good time. Well, Ella went in and went up to her room for a little bit. She wanted to lay down. She goes in, lays up in the room, and they had lunch. They had pizza from Casey's. But when they finished eating, they put it on the stove in the box right there. They go outside to the garage. David said, hey, Liam, go in and get me a light bulb. We got a light out here in the garage. So Liam goes in the house, and all of a sudden he's, Mom and Dad, come quick, come quick. They come running. They got a dog, a little puppy, that's bigger than their older dog now. And he gets into things. And they left the box of pizza on the stove which they know is a no-no. And he tried to get up there, and when he did, he hit the handle part of the stove, turned it on, and caught the pizza on fire. Well, they now need a new stove, new microwave. But the good part about it is Liam got in there, which got David and Amber in there. They got the fire out, and minimal damage to the house, and something they can fix quickly. They will need a new stove, new microwave, but Ella was upstairs, and if Liam doesn't go in, the whole house probably is up in arms. So I thank God a lot today. I've talked to my daughter 3 or 4 times, seeing if there's anything. One, I was going to cancel the show and make supper here and take it over to them, but David, who usually on Monday nights is on the road for work, he was home tonight, so he was going to cook out. But said many prayers, and anybody who would like to say a prayer for my family, my daughter and her family, my grandkids and son-in-law. The son-in-law is Grandma Bo's grandson. So we was very, I'm going to use a statement right now I don't usually use because I don't like it, but we were very blessed about this. So that's the story I wanted to tell you. And until I talked to my daughter a little bit ago, I just was not in to doing a show tonight. But when I talked to her and I found out everybody's okay, and they don't even think they're going to turn it into the insurance because with the deductible. But I brought that part up because, see, that is part of the cabal. Let's pay insurance on our house. Now, their house is valued at about $250,000. It's a very nice house. And let's pay insurance month in and month out. Month in and month out. Now, they've lived there for like 3 or 4 years, 5 years now. They paid insurance every month. They've never had a claim, which means they're probably paying a couple $100 a month insurance on something. Unless they lose the whole house, they're never going to claim because they have the deductible so freaking high. Why is there a deductible on insurance? I can tell you another. My house. I bought my house in 1982 in July. I paid insurance on that house since 1982, and I've never had one claim. Don't you think and we all know I'm going to get that money back when we go into the Big N and Big G. But don't you think that, how big of crooks are these? When I say, man, I want it to go now, then I realize how big of crooks these people are. I had someone call me out because on Facebook, someone made a statement about Charlie Kirk. And they said, if Charlie Kirk does not want people talking about him after he's gone, then he should have been nicer to people when he was alive. And my statement to that was, what goes around comes around. Remember what's going to be like when you pass. Man, people rip me. Why are you entitled your opinion, but she's not entitled theirs? What I said, did I say anything about she wasn't entitled her opinion? I thought it was rude. People are getting fired because they're laughing, they're mocking, they're making fun of this senseless situation. But was it a senseless situation? Think about it. Think about it. Charlie Kirk died on the 10th. What was the next day? Ian, Sandra, Cindy, Janet. What was the next day? It was the 11th. What is the 11th? September 11th. A day that everybody is always talking about what went on. And if you don't have your eyes open, you have no clue of what went on. But what happened With the death of Charlie Kirk, with his death, you didn't hear many people talking about the sadness, what took place 24 years ago. Why? Because the white hats are literally trying to move past this. Now, there was something that did happen on the 11th. And what happened on the 11th was the fact that President the Hat, passed a bill that this is now Patriots Day. So there is good things that happen. But if you guys have done any research, and I've shared a lot of things with you, there's a audio out there with Patriot Princes and Another Gentleman. It's an hour and I think 37 minutes long, maybe an hour and 47. I don't remember. I just know it's long. But yes, one voice is read what she's telling you, because it is. It is false. One voice. And I'm going to give you some illustrations why I think. With the weapon of choice that supposedly took him out, if you listen to the audio that I'm talking about, that particular vehicle, if you listen to it, that particular gun, not vehicle, that particular gun, when it hit him, would have knocked him completely off his seat and he would have went flying backwards. The impact that has. It didn't. Did anybody see the pictures of Charlie Kirk with his little something around his neck? He was wearing something. And someone says, so what? Lots of people wear things around their neck. Well, I went and did a Google search, and I looked at over 100 pictures of Charlie Kirk. Over 100 pictures. And there was many, many more that I glanced at and didn't see, but I just didn't count them. All in all, probably 200 pictures on Google that I looked at, and not once did this man ever have something around his neck. But that day he did. Isn't it strange that the same man that grabbed President the Hat was the man standing back behind Charlie Kirk? Lots of coincidences. But the one that gives it across the most, if you're shot here, he was shot sitting there, left side of his neck, I believe it was. He was shot in the left side of his neck. But if you look close at the video, the blood come from down here, under his shirt and up. I'm serious as a heart attack, guys. I am serious. I have went over and over and over this stuff. I think Charlie Kirk, the man that we knew being Charlie Kirk, was an amazing man. And according to Patriot Princes and this other gentleman, his job is done. He has opened up colleges all over the United States are chanting his name. This man is loved. He is cherished. He did what he needed to do. And as the words of Patriot Princes and his other gentlemen, now he can go live the life he deserves with his wife and 2 children. And is it true what I'm saying? Remember, this is my feelings from Patriot Princes, other people. But facts are facts. And, when you see everything over and over, and I'm not going out and cutting this down, because not to be able to listen to him, not to be able to see him put people in their place, I'm going to miss it because I've been following him very strongly. And you know, guys, I've talked on shows about you guys need to follow him. He is the smartest man I think I have ever seen. I'm not being rude here, but his intelligence makes the hat look like he's the one that's 10 steps behind in a chess match. I'm just saying. It's something to think about. Remember, this is a movie. Movie has changed plots. You know, I was watching a show with Ron the other night, and it was about this man that they swore this man was guilty. And I'm telling you, Danny Reagan, he was going after him full balls, man. He was knocking it out of the park. He had this man. The minute he seen this case, he knew it was this man. And they got this man, they got him arrested, and it was case closed. And then all of a sudden his partner said, Danny, I'm not 100% sure. So they started investigating a little bit more because, you know, you don't catch the criminal on that show 30 minutes into the show. You got to take it out the whole show. What are you going to do for the next 30 minutes? You can only watch them at their Sunday dinner so long. And I laugh at their Sunday dinner because one of the rules at this Sunday dinner is no electronics at the table. But they're always answering their phone. Every one of them are answering their phone. And I looked around and I said, isn't them electronics? Yes, J.D. Vance did a great job of doing what he needed to do. But like I said, guys, what I've said tonight about him, I do not say it out of disrespect. I say it out of I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss the fact that I can't go to TikTok. Oh, by the way, anybody who's following me on TikTok, I'm closing my account. Yeah. And then I'm going to open a new one because I don't know if I got hacked. But I'm going to tell you right now because I can say it here because I'm not on TikTok. TikTok to me is run by the dumbest people in the world. I mentioned one day in writing, you know, when you do a little video, they like you to write 200 words explaining what the video is about. And I said something about children. Everything I said was true. Everything I said, I had the backing to prove it. But they told me that was not allowed. I appealed it and I said, where does it say that I can't say the truth? And they said, this is not the truth. So I showed them. And they come back and said, we don't care. We're still blocking that video. Okay. It didn't hurt me. Wasn't one of my better videos anyway. Didn't get my good side. But anyway, that being said, I was talking to a friend of mine on there, chatting. And one thing I hate about TikTok is someone becomes your friend, they follow you, you follow them back. Well, let's go someplace else more private to talk. I don't need privacy, guys. I'm not here to pick you up, girls. I don't want you. If you want to talk about patriotism, I'm your guy. If you want to talk about falling in love, then what's that show? Big Wheels Rolling, moving on. Just go. And I'm talking to this lady, and she's telling me about this other lady that likes me, and she's talking about this, and all of a sudden, boom, I can't receive or send messages on there anymore. If someone friends me and I want to friend them back, I can, but I can't thank them for following me. So the site really, the only reason the site is any good is I can watch some videos, which the crap that these people are coming up with now, oh my God, it's ridiculous the things that they're saying. They're going against the Why do you follow him? Well, I got on, I was chatting the other night, telling him why I followed him. They don't want to hear it. They have their opinions. And then I got in an argument with 4 black ladies the other day. And I said, well, wait a minute, you've been calling me names, and I've allowed it. But I have a question for you. I was here last night at midnight, and you guys was on. I'm here today at 1 p.m, and you ladies are on, talking about the same crap. They think it's okay that one boy went and did that thing with that knife to that other boy at that track meet because he didn't have a weapon. That's not a weapon. That's a tool. A tool where I set. That's a weapon. When the boy got caught and arrested, the police looked at him and said, we're arresting you for, he said, it's not alleged. I did it. He admitted right there. There was videos going on all over the place when he did it. But now you have these 4 or 5 black women, and it doesn't matter the color of someone's skin, but it just so happened they're supporting a black person. So I went on and I says, can I ask you a question? And they said, what? I said, a while back, there was a white guy, a white boy, young kid, and he stabbed a black young man. The difference is the black young man was trying to rob this young white kid, and he stabbed him. He's guilty. He has to go to jail. I said, why? He just had a tool. No, it's not a tool. Oh, wait a minute. It's a tool for a black person, but it's not a tool for a white person. And there's where our problem is, guys. We worry too much about the color of someone's skin. We have to change that. We have to stop that. And if Martin Luther King would have not been put in hiding for all these years, if he comes back and he still has that dream, he's the one person that can end it. He can end this, boom. The hat can do whatever he wants to try to end it. Martin Luther King comes back, boom, he can end it just like that. Now, some of you are probably looking and saying, Papa G, you think I'm crazy? Karen, you think I'm crazy? Mike Davis, you know I'm crazy. How can he come back? Well, what we know, we know. I was reading an article. I sent one of my followers this small list, and I've sent it to many. This small list of people who still with us that we think are gone. And I sent it to him about a week and a half ago. And today I go on Facebook, and on his page, he posted it. And I'm telling you, this man, he's got a good following. This man is getting comment after comment after comment after comment. And people are agreeing they're alive, they're alive. But he also made the statement, and he's a very smart man. He makes a statement, there's about 900 that are still alive that we think are gone. What is it going to be like? I got this question. What is it going to be like when we go to a situation where the ones that we think are gone, well, we don't, because, John, we know that they're still here. Mike, we know. Sandra, we know. Hi, Sandra. Hi, John, by the way, I was talking about you earlier. Was your ears ringing? But anyway, we know what's going on. But for the people who don't, how's they going to handle this? You know how they're going to handle it? Papa G, Sandra, John, Mike, Janet. Where'd Janet go? She disappeared. There's Bill Woods up there, Larry. How they're going to handle it is people like us are going to explain to them exactly what's going on. But see, when they see it, then they're going to believe it, because with it is also going to come some cha-ching. And we should talk about cha-ching for a little bit. I found some things today from a site that I stumbled upon on Telegram. And this was post 1, the engine of control, how the world really works. You have been told your entire life that money makes the world go round, that its neutral tool a means to prosperity, a path to freedom, but I'm here to tell you that's a careful crafted illusion. What really powers the world is debt, and it has been weaponized to enslave entire populations. Let me break it down. The illusion of wealth. Every modern, economy runs on fiat money, currency with no intrinsic value, backed by nothing but trust in central banks. But here's the trick. Every unit of that money enters the system as debt. Governments borrow it, banks create it out of thin air, and you inherit the bill. Inflation isn't an accident, it's policy. It's how they quietly drain your purchasing power while pretending the system is growing. Fractional reserve banking, the biggest scam never explained. Banks don't lend out money they lend out money they don't, multiplying deposits into loans, creating debt from air. Every time you swipe a credit card or take a mortgage, you're agreeing to pay back money that never existed until you owed it with interest. You work, they print. You pay, they profit. That's not an economy, that's a pyramid scheme. Global banking cartels who really benefit at the top of the structure set central banks like the Federal Reserve, ECB, and IMF, none of which are truly accountable to people. The issue currency manipulates interest rates and dictates global policy through the network of debt, loans, and aid. They don't serve you, they serve the cabal transitional elites and profit from keeping you a constant state of just barely enough. Poverty is programmed, not natural. Look at the developing world nations, rich in resources, yet buried in debt to the IMF and the World Bank. Those debts are engineered to be unpayable, locking countries into perpetual servitude in exchange for assistance. And here's the kicker. The same system runs in the West. It's just dressed in student loans, mortgage, credit cards, and taxes. Debt isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. The system was never meant to make you free, it was meant to make you useful to them. Work consumes, borrow, repeat, and every time you question the weight on your shoulders, they tell you that's just life. But it's not life, it's a trap. The good news system, the debt machine, is dying under its own weight. Governments are bankrupt, central banks are panicking, trust is eroding, and that chaos, the new system is being quietly prepared, one based not on debt and control, but on sovereignty and truth. You're not just watching history, you're standing at the edge of the greatest ship in economic power the world has ever seen. Stay sharp. Post 2 drops soon. We're just getting started. Now, they have like 8 posts, but I only copied 2 of them to read here tonight because I wanted to get through the show. Post 2, the change you never see, debt as modern slavery. In the old days, slavery was easy to spot. Chains, whips, forced labor. Today, the chains are invisible, but they make no mistake, they're still there. They come in the form of credit cards, student loan, mortgages, taxes, and interest-bearing currencies. And the system that created them is the most refined form of enslaved humanity has ever seen. From the shackles to the signatures, the slavery of the past has evolved. Today, you sign a contract instead of being sold at auction. You are lured with dreams of home ownership, higher education, or financial freedom, only to find yourself drowning in repayment scheduled the last decades. That's not empowerment, that's statistic entrapment. The debt traps disguised as opportunity. Student loans promise a better future, but they chain millions to lifetime repayment. Mortgages offer the dream of home ownership, but they keep families enslaved for 30 years of interest. Taxes are disguised as patriotic duty, but most of which you pay serves interest on government debt, not your communities. And once you're inside the trap, there is no easy way out. Miss one payment and they'll take everything. Debt as mental slavery. Debt doesn't just weigh on your bank account, it crushes your mind, spirit, and time. It dictates your life choices and limits your freedom, defines your stress levels, and forces you to work jobs you hate just to survive. You don't live to thrive, you live to repay. And worst of all, they are convinced you they convince you this is normal. Good debt is a lie. They call it good debt. It helps you invest, study, and grow. But ask yourself, if something truly benefits you, why does it require you to surrender your freedom to get it? The truth is, the system makes debt look desirable so it can keep you hooked generation after generation. Debt isn't a tool, it's a leash. Your time, their profit. Every hour you spend working to repay interest is an hour you didn't spend living, building, or creating. Your energy fuels their system. Your stress funds their bonuses. Your loyalty keeps them in power. They don't want your debt free. They don't want you debt free. They want you busy, scared, and distracted. But here's the truth: the leash is being cut. What if I told you you were never meant to live this way? That is a new system coming, one designed to free you from this artificial bondage. Big N, Big G is not just a dream, it's a plan. One that includes debt forgiveness, the end of tax slavery, and the new economic model built on fairness, not fear. More in post 3. Now I'm going to go back, if I can find this site again. I actually requested to join it, but I don't know if I was accepted. But I want to get all of these and do, maybe I'll do small videos on them. I have one more. I have 2 more things to read, I guess. Actually, more than that. I hate reading. Oh, I lost it. Now I got to go way back up here. Bear with me. The Smith, MUNDT, act is trending on X after the Charlie Kirk assassination. We must restore the Smith-Mundt Act, breaking down how Obi legalized propaganda. In 2013, it was legalized in the United States to propagandize its citizen. That's some scary third world stuff going on. That's the kind of stuff that people use to topple governments, to take away freedoms. Yes, you heard that right. Almost a decade ago, propaganda was legalized in the United States with a passage of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which you've probably never heard of. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was buried in the 2012 Defense Authorization Act for a good reason, because it repealed the 1948 Smith-Mundt Act, which authorized the State Department and mainstream media to engage in propagandizing foreign countries, but it also prohibited releasing that same propaganda in America for public consumption. This prohibition was lifted when the Smith Act was signed into law by Barack Obama. Very simple. Obama gave it a reboot in 2012, so no matter how outrageous the propaganda may be, it's completely legal. Propaganda, in other words, a false narrative for whatever specific purpose, is now much, much easier to perpetuate on the people. Due to the Smith Modernization Act, which went into effect July the 2nd of 2013, scripted and orchestrated propaganda can now be presented to American public as factual news. Okay. Then here's another one here. Breaking: over 100 teachers in Texas will now have their teaching certificates suspended and become ineligible to teach in Texas public schools after they endorsed Charlie Kirk's assassination and incited more violence. Governor Greg Abbott announces the Texas Education Agency is investigating Texas teachers whose actions called for incite violence following the Charlie Kirk assassination. I didn't realize I did this, and I'm not going to read this next one because I've read post 1 and post 2, and the next one is post 4. I don't want to read 4 before maybe next on Wednesday night. I will read 1, but guys, they have been playing us like fiddles our whole life. And the thing of it is, wow. Hey, Golden Arrow. Hi, Jerry. So, some of the things I did find out, I'm going to read Judy real quick. I'm not going to read all of it. There's a lot on Judy today that if I read, putting it mildly, we won't have a show Wednesday night. Judy gets very explicit in a lot of things today. But one thing I do want to tell you, that if anybody here, anybody goes to Telegram and you get an invitation to join Judy Bidington's Telegram site, do not join it. It is false. She does not have a Telegram site. She encourages you, though, to do your own research. Speaking for myself, if you are on Telegram, I encourage you to come to our site. I encourage you to go to Patriot Prince's site. And there's a few other ones that if you get in touch with me, I can tell you what I like. There's a lot of them that I have canceled. I was following a few certain people, and it seemed like all they wanted to do was sell these coins for President the Hat. And I don't understand, because every time he speaks, he does not endorse any of this stuff. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But this information I'm about to read was compiled on Monday, September 15th. Can you believe in about 4 hours and 10 minutes, we're halfway through the month of September? And we were supposed to get it. I mean, how many Tuesdays and Thursdays have we had this month so far? And every one of them, Bruce tells us, we're going to get money. But I'm going to read a few things, and hopefully they're true. If they are, they are. If they aren't, so be it. American sovereignty has been restored. U.S. INC is dead. The hat is commander-in-chief. Maritime law is over. On September 13, 2025, President the Hat gave the green light for global currency reset and emergency broadcast system, EBS. Activation, his global military alliance will take over fake news, media, and make mass arrests across the globe. Now, this is what's being reported. And I like Judy, so I believe in Judy. But here's my question. This was Saturday that this was made announced. Does anybody here remember the 2024 election? Who was going to become president? Who did we vote for? Do you remember that? Do you remember how many times we've seen this man on TV promising to take down mainstream media, that they was the scum of the earth, promising to do this and promising to do that and promising to do this and promising to do that. But now all we ever see is people telling us. Now, if this happened, if what I just read happened on the 13th, why don't we know about it? Why are we reading from it from Judy? Why didn't he come out and say, guys, I've given the green light for the global currency reset? Why is everything secret? When he needed our vote, it wasn't secret. When he needed our vote, it was, oh, the American people are the greatest people in the world. I love them. If Diane from Iowa's on, Diane with two N's, how many times did he said, I love Iowa, full of cornfields, full of love. Iowa is a great state. Why wasn't it made public in Iowa that we did this? He don't like my state. Right now, I don't like it either. And it's because of two people. One of them's in charge in Chicago, and one of them's a fat man down south of me. You know, the thing of it is, that man doesn't even live in Illinois, but he's our governor. That's how sad things have got. But you want to hear a scary thing? He wants to run for president in 2028. And they think the Democratic Party thinks he'd be a winner chicken dinner. I'm going to tell you right now, they make the statement, if I got any money at all, if that man becomes president, I am going to some secluded beach or something. I'm not, guys, we wouldn't have a country. That man is, he is beyond cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. This is a man that is so cheap being a billionaire, a multi-billionaire. His whole family are billionaires. But he is so cheap that when he was running for governor, he had every bathroom torn out in his brand new house that he was building that year, because if there's no bathrooms in it, it's not considered a livable place. And he didn't have to pay taxes that year on it. The next year, he was governor. So you want to place him $1 here or $1 there that he never paid ever any taxes? How much is enough when you're a billionaire and you're too cheap to pay taxes? But when you're a man struggling for money, man, they're going to, if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to steal your house. You know, I read something a little bit ago about if you miss a payment, they'll take your house. I don't like to tell this story, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's true. But when I got divorced 18 years ago, I refinanced my home and a couple of other things that I owed because I had to put them into one bill. I borrowed $68,000. I was close to having my house paid off. I borrowed $68,000. 2 years later, I got sick and I missed a couple of payments. I ended up missing about 6 payments before I was taken to the courthouse and had to prove that I was changing and I would start paying my payments. So the judge gave me 6 months. If I can make my payments for 6 months, he'll look at this again. And I did. I made my payments a week early, 2 weeks early. I had 2 jobs by then and everything was good. I wasn't sick no more. 6 months later, I went met with him again and he took everything off. He said, I consider you caught up. I borrowed $68,000. They hit me so much with taxes. And eventually when I get this, well, supposedly with the big N and big G, I'm not going to have to pay it off. I make my payments every month on my house. I owe $92,000 on my house. On a $68,000 loan, missing 6 payments, I owe $92,000. Now, you guys that are good in math, and I'm pretty good, hi, Bobo. You guys are pretty good in math. Is it possible? At one time, I mean, and this is down from $103,000 that it had went up to. A $68,000 loan, missing 6 payments, of which the house payment itself, because I have my insurance and my taxes all in it, so my escrow's all in there. So my payment for everything was only $500 and some dollars. My house payment was only about $250 a month. $250 a month. And I missed 6 payments, $3,000, and it took me up to over $101,000. That's the kind of world we live in. Sandra, I like your prayers and your flags. Thank you. Well, let's see what Judy's got to say. Redemption centers are already open and have been exchanging those tier 3 markets, and redemption centers would be open for the general public on Monday, 15th September 2025. Once again, that. Tier 1 global elite banks and sovereign states. This tier includes the international command structures of fiat finance, IMF, BIS, World Banks, national central banks, Federal Reserve, European banks, Banks of England, G7 treasuries and ministries of finance, financial dynasties, and like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and Warburgs. Tier 2, private banks, trust funds, and religious finance networks. This tier, private banks, UBS Credit, SUSE's, HSBC Private, etc., multinational family trust, religious banking systems, Vatican Bank, sovereign religious holdings, NGOs, and Philippine, funds, and historic for both light and dark. Tier 2 acts as intermediary layer, filtering money and access from tier 1 down to the operational levels. Plain analyst, tier 2 is a distribution center. Some are corrupt, others redeemable. They don't create the wealth, but they move it, mask it, and now they must now release it. Tier 3, historical bondholders and private well groups. These are the silent titans, planetary finance. They hold Chinese dragon bonds from QUING dynasty, debt repayment agreements, WW1, WW2, German bonds, gold bonds, Philippine. So the thing I want to ask here is, this is supposed to be the Wells is tier 3. I always consider myself tier 4B. But me and Ron have, to say a few is an understatement, of the Chinese golden bonds. So I'm going to take them in when I go. I'm not going to worry about it. Tier 4A, white hats, military intel, ops, secured government infrastructures. This includes military aligned financial engineers, quantum system testers, QFS, agricultural teams, governor. They operate in dark zones, DOD clearance levels, military encryptions, plain analysts. Tier 4A is the backstage crew. They built the stage, hung the lights, checked the wires, and are now holding the curtains before the first public cue. They don't get applause, but without them, nothing would happen. Then Tier 4B, the internet group, the awakened citizens, you, me, and millions of others who research QFS, Big N, Big G, acquired revaluation currencies, ZIM, IQD, VND, and others, follow digital whistleblowers, trusted underground intel, while media lab prepare quietly for years. Tier 4B is just a demographic. It's a spiritual role. You saw through the veil. You understood the reset wasn't just about money. It was about humanity's rebirth. This group is expected to receive private notifications, secured redemption appointments, and may have a role in post-humanitarian leadership. Plain analysts, Tier 4B, are the digital warriors. We weren't paid to fight a war, but we fought it anyway with means of podcasts, PDFs, and encrypted hope. Now we wait for the signal. Tier 5 is the unprepared, the people who's been given money, the people who don't even know about the quantum financial system, people that when they receive this information, they will be asking many of us, is this true? Is this true? And for once we say yes, Sandra and David in one voice, once we say yes, John and Janet, all will be there. Everything will be good. Guys, we'll be back Wednesday night. Have a great night. Stay positive. And we love you all.
Yeah, I do need that to plug in over here.
I knew you did.